I thought today I'd show you how I print one of these little articulated dummy 13 action figures on my Bambu. I did this video here of me unboxing and setting up my Bambu. I've not really spoken about it on the channel since. So it's a machine I bought myself. It's a P1S I bought. This is one of the excellent little models that you can do with it. So I just thought I'd show you the workflow of that as we go through it. Okay, so to start with, we use Bambu Studio. So here's the model downloaded off the website. You can actually use this and get the models on the website directly from within this Bambu Studio. But I'm not going to do that this time because I've already downloaded it. So let's just open that. All right, so it comes down as on a series of plates. So you have to excuse the noise in the background because the Bambu is printing. This is the skeleton of it. This is like the armor. So the green stuff in here. And this is like a little stand, and there's also a nifty little case as well, which I won't show you printing, but I'll show you a version of that case afterwards. So to start with, let's print out the skeleton. So I select that plate there, but first of all I've got to do something up here. So this is a profile for the X1 carbon. I've got a P1S, so thankfully this has been set up with this profile as well. So let's click on that, and then these colors are the designer's filaments that he's got in his AMS. So if I do this, I can go into my AMS. So the AMS is what allows you to use different filaments in one print. Now I don't use it that way because it's a bit wasteful, but it's a good way of keeping the filaments dry and keeping them warm, is having them in the AMS, and it does all the loading for you. So I'll just synchronize that. So these are the colours that I've currently got in. So this is now my setup. So the only thing I've got to do now really is slice plate. This does take a little while. It's quicker on my M1 Mac, but I don't record directly on that. So this is the Mac that comes into the cave, which is very slow now, an old Intel one. 2012 I think, so it's doing really well. But let's just wait for that to work. Okay. So that's ready to go now. Let's just hide that. Then the next thing I do is print plate. There's what I'm going to print, and I can also change the filament. So because this is like the skeleton stuff, I'm going to do that in black. So once that's ready, look, that's going to take 1 hour and 6 minutes to print, and it's only going to use 12 grams. You could get a load of these figures off 1 kilogram of filament. Of course, there's wastage on it as well, but yeah, you can get quite a lot out of that. So as I said, I'm busy printing something else at the moment, but so when that's finished, I'm going to send that to the printer, but I've got to prepare it. So let's get the plate out the printer. All right, so here's the plate. You see it's got this sort of ripply texture on it anyway, but it's got a lot of goop on it. And that goop is this. It's a glue stick. And with PLA, if you put this on there, it makes it stick to the bed better, the prints. And because there's lots of little prints in this, it's really useful to put the PLA, put the glue on it. Now this is just glue that came with my Bambu. I think you can just use a Pritt stick, we call them, or any old glue stick like this, and then it just washes off afterwards. So it's quite a good way of doing it. Saves wasting prints when they don't stick to the bed. All right, so if this printout works, we'll come back to you in 1 hour and 6 minutes. And it also does a time lapse, so it'll be over quite quickly. So if the time lapse works, it doesn't always work, I'm going to put it here. Okay, that's completed, finished, and hopefully it's all stuck. Yeah. So let's take this up. So you see all the bits have printed out. There's no support. There's a little bit there. You can just see that where there's a little tail of filament that's on there. Now if I don't use the glue stick, you can normally pull them off a little bit. I've just broken his finger now, trying to pull that little bit off. So I've got one of these plastic razor blades, so you can buy these, and it's just easy to just gently get them all off like so. Normally the worst bit is that you end up losing them, and then I can just wash them if I want to get rid of the glue stick residue. This is just water soluble, it comes off. Alright, so I'll just glue stick this back up again, and then let's pop it back in the printer and print out the armour. You see when it goes in, there's guides at the back that it pushes up against, and then the magnetic bit just pulls it down, ready to print the next thing. Alright, now that one's printed, let's go back to the prepare bit and select the armour. So this is going to be the same thing. I'll select the armour. All these settings are okay. I'm just going to do slice plate, and I'll speed this one up because it takes quite a while on this one to print out. Alright, and in a similar way, this is going to take a little bit longer, 1 hour and 11 minutes, and that's already selected that green. So once this printout is finished, I can now send that one as well. And the time lapse for that one, it won't show a lot of it, but it's here if it works. Okay, that's finished. So there you go. All of those pieces have stuck. I don't think there's anything that's escaped. So all good. Alright, so same again. I'll just push those all off. These little kneecap pieces normally go flying. Okay, so let's get building this. So start with find the hip joint, which is that, and then we get one of those, but there's a couple of different versions of this. So we want one that's a little bit not as tall, I think. They see there's 2 different versions, so we want the smaller one that clips into there like so. Then this armor piece goes over, so this is their hip. This hides their dignity. These do loosen up as you play with them, they do loosen. And then there's a cowl that goes over that, quite a big one, goes over that. That goes in there, and then that pushes up into it. Have to make sure it's seated at both sides. Sometimes that fits, sometimes it doesn't. As you see, I've done no post-processing of this at all. I've just taken this directly off the printer, which is one of the good things about using the Pritt stick. It sticks to it, but you don't have to clean any flash or any brims off it. Set that to the side for a minute. Then I take this bigger one, and then there's like a tubey side to it, and that goes in there. And that ball bit of it comes out the top, and then that bottom bit clips onto there that you've just made. So that's bendy waist. So now we start the top of the body. So there's this interesting bit. Always confuses me which way to go, but it goes like that. This is the bottom, head goes into, I think, and there's like these underwear pants that go on with that little hole there that goes in the back to attach the mount onto. And then the breast piece goes across. This is the front of the breast piece, this is the back. You can actually get, not in the main pack, but I've got another one here, look, you can get female forms and loads of different types of female forms on it. For this one I'm just doing male form on this, so that bit has to come up through the neck like so. And that's the chest done. And then that clips onto the body. So the body always seems a bit too long to start with, but once it's all together, it sort of it's the right proportions. But there's the articulated torso. Pretty cool. All right, so then we get the head. So there's the head, and the head piece has got another little ball joint, but it's got a little sticking out bit on it, It's in here somewhere. There you go. So this has got one of those Lego hands, but it's got an offset of that bit, and that offset is the bit that fits at the little hole at the back of the head there, or the inside of the skull. So in he goes, and then there's one I've dropped. There's this bit which has got this teeny little protruding bit, which is almost like a little Adam's apple, and then there's a little cowl of armor that goes on that, which was probably what I just dropped on the floor. Right, so this little piece there goes on and connects to that, and that stops the head from tilting back too much. So that's in there then that goes into bottom of the skull. Then this bit here clicks in, so it means that you can go forward, but not really the Adam's apple, but it stops the head going back too far. So now we start the legs. So the feet to begin with comes in these two little parts. There's a toe piece and there is a foot piece, and there's a slight difference to the toe piece. If you try and push it in that way, it will never go. So I have to push it in from the bottom. So you see there's two extra little holes that just allow those little nubbins on the side to pop in for the feet, and then it's much easier to just pop it down, and there's the bendy toes. So let's do that with the other one. Same thing, so make sure it's in the right way, and then in it pops. These two which have got a little filament that's just holding them together, it shouldn't be like that, so that is a little bit of post-processing, but only a teeny bit. These are sort of offset a little bit, never sure which is the best way to put them in. So I try and put the bigger arm where the ankle bone would stick out. Whether that's the right way, I'm not sure, but there's that one and there's that one. So I've got the left and right feet there. So the outside of the foot has the biggest bit on there. If yours doesn't stand up, you can just do it a different way. So then we get these calves. So two of these calf armor, and this uses the longest of these two pieces, which have got these joints in, which are the elbow joints and the knee joints. This will go into it from there, so that goes into the ankle. So you just have to look at this and make sure the calf's at the top. So in he goes. So that will pop in there like so, and the same for the other one. And now if you want, we can put the knee mechanism in. Sort of better after you've done the main assembly. Let's put it in there to begin with. So these are the knee and the elbows as these sort of W-shaped things, and then that little bit there is where those kneecaps that you always lose goes on. But before we do that, that's the lower leg done, so we need to do the upper leg. So these are the armor pieces for the upper leg, and they go in that way like that. So that bit there is at the back of the knee, and then we take one of these which has got this strange socket, and that goes in there. So if you work out how the knee goes in, that clips over there, that gives you a clue to the way to put that in it goes. But before we push that all the way in, I've just pushed it all the way in, pop it out again. There's this part that goes in to there like that, and that allows it to twist about its axis, so it allows it to twist like that. It's a bit hard to push that one in, but it does go in all right in the end. And that's it. Then that goes in there, and then we can clip that in, which gives you the knee. And I may as well, before I lose it, just pop the kneecap on like so. So the same for the other one. So I take that, add this bit into it. Sometimes it's easier just to push down on the desk, get that in quick, and then I can put the kneecap on that one before I lose it. If you print this out, I would clone the kneecaps a few times because you're likely to lose them. So I think all we have to do is clip these straight on. I think clip, and it helps. See, I'm clipping them in like that and then bending them down, and then this little cover goes on to give it more of the top of the legs, and that's the legs done. So now we go to the arms. So there's various bits of the arms. So there's these bits and these bits, and then there's like a multi-joint at the top of the arm, and there's these things that go on as well, but I don't like those as much as I like these. I think these might be slightly separate ones, but that gives more of a shoulder pad look, so I tend to use those and not use these. Get one of them and then get one of these other pieces with that slidey thing in. So before we do anything, let's put the slidey like so, and I can do that as well with the other one while I'm at it, because I'm doing both sides. Maybe do them at the same time. So that's those two arm pieces, like two little adjustable spanners, and then this comes up the side like that. I have to force it up quite well, but then it sticks in the end. And same with the other one. I think this is where, is this where I put this on? Yeah, do this one first. Yeah, so what I do, yeah, let's push that down again, and if we take that out, I think I pop that in there. It's a bit of a tight fit, but it will go in if you fiddle it, and pop that in. So you see I'm doing that to give a shoulder blade like so. See, so that's a slightly different way of doing it. That bit might still go on, but I prefer to just put these extra pieces on this way instead. So yeah, that goes in there, twist it round a bit, eventually it goes in, and that one goes back on, and then that pushes up. So that's the top of the arm almost completed. That goes on there. That might be supposed to go in on there, but anyway, when I put these shoulder pads on, that doesn't seem to work. Let me know if you do it another way. All right, so now the forearm. So this bit is the inside of the elbow, and again, so that means we've got one of those joints, so that's how I remember it. So that goes up into there, not too far, because we need to access that to put the hand on. I always pushed it too far again. So same thing with that one, that goes in just so that you can see it there. For the elbow joints, these go in the opposite way, so you don't get that sticking out. That sticks out at the elbow point, not at the knee. So if you pop that in there and then pop that into there, it's a little bit fiddly, but it will go in, and then these all push together, and that gives a good articulation. And so same for this one, and then it's just a case of putting their hands on. So I'll check whether it works. So thumb at the top, yeah, that works for that one. Give him a hand, so thumb at the top. Then the last bit that always confuses me is the bit that goes into here. So there's these two last bits left, so that goes in there. I feel like that shouldn't be this extra joint. I feel when I was first doing it myself, I was trying to put that in there and it wouldn't fit, so it needs to have this extra joints to make it multi swivel like a human arm. And then that pushes up, and there is your figure. Hard to show me here, but see, it will normally stand up straight away on its own. It balances quite well. This desk is slightly off level, but see, it will stand up on its own and do many sort of effects. And get down, sits on your knees. Very easy. It would be better if I showed it you from a different angle. And it's pretty articulated. It can sort of go, you know, wherever it needs to go. And it even can curl up into a little fetal ball when he's sad. I suppose I could do a thinker, couldn't I? What's the thinker pose? Something like that. So this is the Dummy 13 articulated figure. I hope you enjoyed watching me build that, and also print it out, and showed you how I go about printing some of these models out on my Bambu P1S. So if you're fortunate enough to have one of those, then try and print this figure out, because it's pretty cool. So the box that is in it, you can do multicolored, and so that's got a D13 on it. You need these extra screws in, but then it clips and you can keep your figures in there. You can fit about 2 figures in there, but also it's got this base that you can do as well, which has got this bit. So if you wanted to use it for animation, that bit goes into the back like that and allows you to sort of do jumping poses and things like that with it. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, how to assemble a dummy 13 printed on a P1S. Bye.